Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Do you remember September 11th, 2001, when the jets rammed into the World Trade Centers in the Pentagon and Pennsylvania? I do. I remember how after that event, the Patriot Act happened, and then the Patriots became the best team in the NFL and they faced the Rams. I want to show you what's so interesting about the first Monday night football games of this season that start just days before September 11th and happen during the time of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. If you were watching the Rams game tonight, they put the Star of David right on the screen at the end of the game. I'm going to show you what that was all about. It was September 11th on the East Coast when they put the Star of David right on the screen during the Rams game. So we're going to go through this piece by piece. We're going to start right here with how number 22 put away the Raiders in Oakland on a very scripted FU ending to the fans. As I've been pointing out for years, all of these games are scripted by the numbers, and they love to punk the home teams on primetime and have the camera go through the crowd and show all the depressed fans who poured all this money into the stadium, who got all dressed up, and now they're devastated. This is all a sick joke, and all the people who continue to go to these games are idiots, period. If you buy NFL tickets, you are a moron. You need to wake up. You need to stop. You are participating in something that is meant to truly mock you, period. Now look, here's number 22 grabbing his nuts. And this is after a pick six, him celebrating as he jumps into the end zone, grabbing his nuts. If you go back and watch this play, the Oakland receiver stopped running. He just stopped running for no reason. To clear the lane so the Rams player, number 22, could come through and pick the ball and run it back for a 50-yard touchdown. And if you look at the drive, Oakland had moved the ball 22 yards before this pick six. I want you to notice that in Gematria, Oakland equals 22, and this was the play that absolutely murdered the fans. Number 22, grabbing his nuts, putting the game away, taking it to 33 points. The big number on Monday Night Football. Now look, today's date had 37 numerology. Pick 6 equals 37. Los Angeles equals 37. The first game of Monday Night Football began with a pick 6 by Quandre Diggs. Quandre and Diggs equals 37, so does Detroit where it happened. Samuel, the quarterback, got intercepted, and it was a 37-yard touchdown return. Again, all of these games are scripted from the final score to the box score to the hash mark. No exceptions. All of them. It's a theatrical performance. You're blind if you can't see it, especially with what I'm exposing. I mean, why else would the Raiders receiver stop running across the field just so the Ram could come through and pick it? It's all by design. It's all meant to mock you. Now look at the winning scores of tonight's game. 33 points and 48 points. And we're going to talk about how 111 points were scored and why that matters total. But 33 and 48, the winning scores. Here I've been for years showing how Monday Night Football, it's all about 33 and sometimes 48. 33, 48, the winning scores, first Monday Night Football of the season. Now for you Raiders fans who get all dressed up for the black hole, you guys need to realize you're at a WWE event every week. NFL football has never been an authentic competition. It's always been a script. Just think about Broadway Joe, Just think about it. In Gematria, base ciphers, black hole, 3348, same with the word mandorla. And if you're going, well, what's a mandorla? It's the shape of the football, 3348. The name Gruden has the Gematria 33. He used to call the Monday Night Football games. Now he comes back as a coach, gets the debut on Monday Night Football. If you look at Gruden, coming in tonight, he had 38 losses as the Raiders coach. Raiders equals 38. He just got his 39th. John equals 39. With regards to 33 and 48, we should also talk about Sam Darnold. And understand, I'm not telling you this stuff in hindsight. I talked about all these numbers before the game was played today, so we're just reviewing. Sam Darnold became the youngest player to start in 68 years. Darnold equals 68. The Jets won their only Super Bowl in 68 by the numbers, a year that had everything to do with 9/11. Again, in 1968, same year, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. World Trade Center construction began. George W. Bush graduated from Yale in Skull and Bones. Space Odyssey 2001 came out. Anyway, look at Sam. 33-48, like Monday Night Football. The Jets win with 48 points. New York 33, New York Jets 48. Base ciphers. Undeniable. Now here is the killer. This happened at the end of the Rams game. Woman comes out with the Star of David on her wrist. The TV captures it. She's giving Gurley, his Gatorade water bottle. Star of David. This was not an accident that they had this on TV. And they kept it up there for a while. She was giving him all this water with the Star of David just right on the screen. It was already September 11th, 11/9 on the East Coast when this happened. It was about 1 in the morning on the East Coast. Star of David, 119. September 11th, 11/9. Orthodox, 119. Ashkenazi Jews, 119. The people we call Jewish, they're Ashkenazi Jews. They're not the real Jews. In the Bible, it says the false Jews will rule in the end times. In the Bible, the Jews have dark skin and hair of wool. Like Todd Gurley. Not like this. Now look, if you were watching this Rams game, all night they were following around the number 77. 77 all night. Following around 77. The camera just could not come off 77. The first quarter, the score was 7-7. In the Jets-Detroit game, the all-time head-to-head between those two teams is now 7-7. Here's why. When you write out September 11th, it equals 77. When you write out World Trade Center, it equals 77. On September 11th, Flight 77 hit the 77-foot-tall Pentagon on the 77th meridian exactly 77 minutes after taking off. Look it up. It's all a fact. All of that. The Pentagon construction also began September 11th, 1941. 9/11/2001, 9 plus 11 plus 20 plus 01, was a date with 41 numerology. USA equals 41, the 13th prime, 13 colonies, 13 stripes. With regards to September 11th in Judaism and the Star of David, understand this code of letters and numbers is from Jewish mysticism known as Kabbalah. Notice the word Judaism is 77. So is Zionist. Israel's the Zionist nation. Israel was planned as a nation before World War I began. Balfour Declaration. If the United States of America joined World War I to fight against Germany, the Zionist nation of Israel would be delivered. That was written by Lord Rothschild, the banker, the Zionist Jewish banker. Lord Rothschild, Balfour Declaration, the promise of delivering the Zionist state of Israel. So, 77, New York City, the Jets got the win, evening the series at 7-7. With regards to the 33-48 and September 11th, you should also know that in Gematria, false flag equals 33-48. And then came the Patriot Act and the Patriots after Drew Bledsoe, number 11, got hit by a New York jet, just like Flight AA-11 hit the big buildings in the 11th state, the World Trade Centers that look like giant 11s, on the 11th day of the month. Those buildings were 110 stories, 110. It was a false flag. It was blamed on a boogeyman in a cave. People from Saudi Arabia that are still alive today. Somehow they crashed in the planes into the buildings and then reappeared alive in Saudi Arabia. Oh boy. So anyway, the scores tonight, 33-14, 48-17. 17-year anniversary of 9/11, by the way. It's the Jets' 59th season, the 17th prime. If you add up these numbers, it sums to 111. And if you look at September 11th, it's the day that leaves 111 days left in the year. New York equals 111. See? New York 111. Remember when the Jets rammed into the building? Remember 17 years later when the Jets and Rams won by the numbers as it crept into September 11th on the East Coast? And Sam Darnold, the biggest story since Joe Namath in 1968 for the Jets when they won the Super Bowl, got his first career win after starting the game with a pick six like Joe Namath used to always throw. And hey, speaking of Broadway Joe, how could I not tell you this. What do you think Joe Namath equals in Gematria? I'll let you guess while I get it up here on the screen for you. Joe Namath, 3348. You know, base ciphers. You know, Joe Namath is 156 too. If you write out 33, it sums to 156. The construction firm that built the World Trade Centers, Magnus and Klemenkic Associates, they're out here in Seattle. Their name sums to 156 too. I want you to see that 911 is the 156th prime number. What are the odds? I want you to see that in Jewish Gematria, when you write out false flag, it sums to 156. And the other thing I want you to see is that in Jewish Gematria, when you write out Tisha B'Av, it sums to 911. 911. What is Tisha B'Av? It's the Jewish day to remember the destruction of the 2 temples. Can you believe it? The word ossuary also equals 911. You know what that is? An ossuary is the way the Knights Templar used to bury their dead, other ancient people. You would decompose a body in the ground, and then after the body decomposed, you would collect the bones, and you'd put them in a box known as an ossuary in a certain way. And the concluding bones you'd put in were the thigh bones, the biggest bones in the body. You'd cross them at the top, and then you'd take the skull and you'd set it on top. Skull and bones. You see how ossuary sums to 118 here? If you write out 41, it sums to 118. And if you write out George Herbert Walker Bush, it sums to 118. Base ciphers. George Herbert Walker Bush, the 41st president, who 11 years to the day of September 11th, 2001, gave the speech about a new world order, a world freer of terrorism. 11 years to the day. He gave that speech on September 11th, 1990. Used the words New World Order. And watch this dark green cipher here. New World Order, 174. Number of the beast, 174. He gave it 11 years to the day. I want you to see that the word beast is 11. And the number of the beast is 666, right? New York's 111 with the alphabetic order. There's a cipher where you multiply times 6. When you multiply 111 times 6, it's 666. Number of the beast. New World Order. 11 years to the day. You know, a big ritual in New York City with the buildings that were massive 11s, where flight AA11, you know, hit them. You see what they did here? Tom Brady, the Patriots, ends up beating the Rams in the Super Bowl. Today's date has 57 numerology. You know, on the West Coast where the game ended, it was still September 10th. On the East Coast, it was September 11th. The games both began on September 10th. Date with 57 numerology, right? Rams equals 57. Rosh Hashanah equals 57. Right now it's Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. Jews equals 57. You know? What are the odds on this day of all days they get this shot on the screen? What are the odds of that? And I want to remind you, the day after September 11th, September 12th, 2001, Ehud Barak, the leader of Israel, he came over to the United States and he went on our television and he said, what you need to do is declare a war on terrorism. And he told us to attack Afghanistan. And he said, go after Iraq. And what did we do? What did we do? You know? Did you know that 119 weeks after Obama became president, Osama died? Did you know that? It's a fact. Osama. They blamed it on a man in a cave, Osama bin Laden. Then they started blaming it on Saddam Hussein. And then next thing you knew, you had Barack Hussein Obama. You know? Some people say that all of Hollywood's under MK Ultra and all these athletes are under MK Ultra. You know what I think? I think this nation's under MK Ultra. That's what I think. I think somehow some of us are immune to it, but I don't know how people can't see through any of this stuff. I've seen it all through it since I was a child. I knew the sports games were rigged when I was a child. I knew 9/11 was a lie the first second it happened. You know? I knew the whole time somebody's been laughing at me grabbing their nuts. You know what I mean? That's what I know. Let's see how many clowns are dressed up in the black hole next game in Oakland. Let's see how many sheep are still filling up the stands, paying $20 for a beer. You know, that's the American pastime, getting drunk so you can't see how rigged the game is. Try watching the game sober and tell me you don't see what I see. You know, did you even see the Detroit Lions trying to make a tackle tonight? People should ask, why are these guys paid millions of dollars to play a game? It's because they're distracting billions of people. These guys are getting a good return investment, the New World Order. They need you all distracted while you pay your taxes, you slave for your low wages, you eat their poisonous food. Meanwhile, these guys are just grabbing their nuts. Suck on these. Blowing their ram's horns, you know what I mean? Until next time.